Hey everybody, welcome back to the 6 round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, as always, Eddie Mercado. Back to us once again. Oh, feeling the love.
Oh,
Aww. I'm surprised you didn't find a way to do the masturbating sound effects at the same time. Really
next
making.
time.
That's
Next
right.
time. I'm off my A game.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to y'all from the conclusion of UFC Kansas City, where Ian Machado Garry squeaked out a victory over Carlos Prates by the skin of his teeth.
I guess. You mean he didn't get finished there in the final round?
Well, I mean, he got 48-47 on 2 cards. It came down to a 1 round fight. And if you're me and have the correct scorecard out there, it was a draw.
Yeah.
I would say, I think it's a draw. 10-8 round 5. Ian Garry on his hands and knees crawling away from Carlos Prates. That happens in a fight, I'm automatically like 10-8.
No argument.
You know?
That's fine if that's how you see it. I'm sure. That's timidity at its finest.
It is. Like, if it's not a point deduction, then a judge at the very least should look at that and be like, that dude is really losing this fight right now.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
I think Garry did a superb job of cage command across 4.
He did. He did. I even round 4, giving it to Prates, I'm sort of like, am I just watching this through like bias goggles here? Do I not want Zoomer Covington to win? And so I'm, picking Prates, saying Prates got round 4 just because the optics are there.
Yeah. The optics at the end of the round at that.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I said, superb, cage control, cage command, whatever you want to call it. I didn't like it.
no.
I didn't appreciate it.
I mean, it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I will say this. For a lot of that fight, Ian Garry did an excellent job of intercepting Prates with really clean, hard strikes every time Prates tried to step forward and position himself and build momentum for to land something really clean. Garry just denied that mostly through striking for 3 solid rounds, and I thought he'd deny that through hugging.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah,
Just wall install because Prates
yeah,
can get caught up against the cage with
he
his back
can.
to it, and
Yeah, I saw Magny actually doing pretty good against Prates in the clinch in their fight, and I thought, I think I have to pick Garry here. He's not half so washed as Magny, and is very smart about neutralizing opponents.
no, he fought brilliantly,
Yeah.
mixing in his takedowns at the perfect times. He fought smart. Again, not the fight I wanted.
No, we all wanted Prates to go out there and do
Starch.
something magnificent, but
Yeah, I wanted him to be violent, and
yeah,
I mean, he was frozen for
he was just underprepared.
good
You know,
portion of that fight. And
he's got
I picked Prates, but
ah,
I was a little concerned about the movement of Garry because
yeah.
Prates is someone he likes to stand in place. He likes to load up and get heavy on his feet. And I'm like, Gary's not just going to stand there for you to hit him.
He's also a fighter that his game so far has been about taking advantage of huge mistakes that opponents make and about building momentum, and at a really high level against fighters like Ian Garry, the mistakes aren't that huge, and it's much, much harder to build momentum. It's much harder to just be able to run somebody back into the cage and keep them on the run, keep them making mistakes, keep them out of position constantly. And without that, like, Prates has never had to face that before. He's never had to be in a fight where somebody wouldn't just give him everything he needed, or at least he hasn't for a long time. I mean, I know he's lost before, but in his big run up to the UFC and now
Yeah.
in the UFC,
And Gary's elite.
yeah,
Like
he is.
this was a big step up
Yep,
for Prates. And I know came in 13 ranked and all
yep,
that, but Garry, like
yeah.
he went, toe to toe with Shavkat and put Shavkat in some really bad situations that nobody thought he was going to put him in. So I mean, this was I think a great wake up call for Prates.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you gotta, because like he's someone that will get behind on the scorecards and then just finish someone. Like
Yeah.
he will drop rounds. Like he's
Hmm.
because he can overcome it.
Yep.
But against someone like Garry, you can't give him that kind of head
No,
start. It's
you
just not gonna
can't.
work out.
It was a hard learning moment for Prates, but I will say this: for all that, goddamn, is Prates' counter wrestling gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It's some of the best anti-wrestling I've seen since Joanna Jędrzejczyk was in her prime, where he's not just shutting a takedown down or like stuffing a shot or something, but actually like turning Gary's whole body so that his momentum is away from the takedown attempt, so that Garry can't chain and has to defend and is in suddenly a really bad position to get hurt himself. Prates is excellent at that. And
It's actually he uses the same exact defense that Connor was trying to use against Khabib.
yeah.
Like the same exact, it's the same technique, but Khabib's Khabib, right?
Yeah, and also Prates is way bigger relative to his opposition than Connor ever was relative to his opposition. You could see a lot of positions in this where Garry looked like he had Prates like 75% down, and Prates would still like have one hand he could post on or one leg under him that he could just kick up and suddenly be back in a really good position. He's a
That
spider out
and
there.
Prates is excellent at switching his hips and immediately, like he'll give his
Yeah.
back. He's willing to give his back to get his hips out so he can get his feet under him
Yeah.
to get back up. And that can be dangerous, but it also works.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's beautiful to watch.
It is. It's a great part of his game. I have a lot of hope still for him as a elite fighter moving forward. This was just a bit of a reality check fight that you can't fight from
And
behind.
it shows he can fight tired.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, I think if he had energy in that fifth round, he would have had his hand raised at the end there. I
Yeah.
think
He
you know
shouldn't have backed up off him. He shouldn't have
I
backed off the ground.
I know he shouldn't have, but you could also see why he did, and it's because he was there on Gary's back and he's trying to punch, but all he could do in that position is arm punch because he's trying to stay really connected. And he was just too tired for that to be effective. So he was hoping, like, okay, I get back up, I get space, and I can put my whole body into something and maybe land one big kill shot. Like he was too gassed.
Yeah.
So
For a cigarette smoker, that ain't half bad.
no, yeah. I mean, a couple packs. Was it like 3 packs a day when he's
He needs to get sponsored
partying?
by like Parliament or like some
Yeah,
like off-brand cigarette company.
there we go. So it was a fun fight, honestly, to me. It was a more fun fight than I expected. Seeing Prates actually get a chance to win it, seeing Garry actually control the fight with his striking early on. Yeah, we still got some of the Garry sucking the life out of you, just holding on to a clinch, pushing him against the cage kind of stuff, but not nearly as much as I'd expected.
Yeah, I mean, he really relied on his footwork and his lateral movement
Yep.
and just refusing to get caught. Excuse me, standing still. Like awesome stick and move, kind of being elusive, just fighting and just hyper intelligent. The fight
And
IQ through the roof.
what I actually love too to see, even in when Garry wasn't galloping away and doing the take your 2 feet apart, bring them together, 2 feet apart, bring them together, sort of gallopy shuffle that so many fighters do, is there were actually times in here when Prates would blitz in and Garry would pivot out of the pocket, and Prates would end up, basically punching past him, and Garry landed some brutal counters doing that, which that is really the footwork that you want to see in those situations. Is not just the shuffle, but like put your pivot so you're in position to make somebody pay for overstepping.
It was a complete showing from
It
Garry.
was.
Like
It was.
he went full MMA.
And I think it was I don't know. He didn't address it. Didn't come up in the post fight, but I also think he probably broke his right arm at the end of that fight,
Yeah,
blocking a
it did look
Prates kick.
swollen.
And he threw it a couple more times, but it was very clearly like just a like club he was throwing when he threw it, and mostly he tried to keep it very shielded while throwing his left arm still. So
I wonder if it was from blocking a kick.
I think it was. There was a moment, I can't remember if it was late in round 4 or early in round 5, where Prates had a flurry against the cage and he landed a big body kick in the middle of it. And I think Garry caught it on the forearm, and I wouldn't be surprised if it snapped that forearm.
But he says he's fighting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I guess that is the thing. We'll find out. We'll find out if he actually broke that arm. If in 2 days that he's still making that statement and flying out.
But I mean, if he can, good on him.
Well, he's there to back up. He's not actually going to fight in 2 weeks. I mean, maybe a fight will fall apart, but it's it's good talk. It's good self. It's good to build yourself up that way. Like I'm sure that Muhammad Della Maddalena will go on and Garry won't fight, but he says he's going to be there, and even if he breaks his arm and just shows up, then he's still going to feel like he.
I'll tell you what, though, if Garry had all 5 rounds like he had the first 3, he should absolutely be like, I'm next.
Oh yeah.
Let Shavkat get his thing or whatever, but I'm right after that. That would have been like his statement making move.
It felt a little hollow with the crawling away from your opponent in round 5 and then standing up and being like, I've got that next title. I'm going to be there for a title shot in 2 weeks. Like, okay.
And then he tried to do the whole, hey, Prates, let's kneel together because we just had this war. And Prates is like, nah, fam, I'm not kneeling with you.
I need a cigarette. I need a shot. I need to go to the club. I'm not going to hang out on the mat with you.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the first real big setback for the fighting nerds, I believe.
Yeah, although I think Kanan Khrushchevsky is technically also a fighting nerd, and everybody just sort of sweeps that one under the rug.
You know what I mean, though.
Like, yeah, no, I know. They've got a few fighters that are streaking towards contendership, and
there's like a 4 horsemen of the fighting nerds.
So the first setback, not a bad one, not a brutal one, not an unrecoverable one. Prates still looked dangerous when he finally got his way into the fight. Just one of those things that
and dangerous in the 5th round. Like, that's crazy. Like this cig smoker is dangerous in the 5th. Fuck.
See, if he just didn't smoke, then he would be dangerous. You can imagine, like, this is an MMA mythical figure, right? Like, quit smoking Carlos Prates, suddenly he's going to have infinite cardio.
That's right.
Never get tired. Anyway. Not the downer end I was hoping for. Or not hoping for. I was not the downer end I was expecting, rather. I was hoping we wouldn't get a downer end. Not the downer end I was expecting off a Garry win. But it is what it is. The real downer, though, Zhang Mingyang, Anthony Smith.
Well, hold on. Before we even get there.
Okay.
Who should Prates fight?
Oh, yeah. So Prates, let's see. I forgot to have the shit up. Carlos Prates.
One of them needs to fight Buckley.
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't care who, but one of them needs to fight Buckley.
Welterweight. Buckley is currently booked to fight Kamaru Usman.
Oh, is he?
Coming up here. Yeah. So probably Prates at this point. It's too bad that they booked Michael Morales, Gilbert Burns. It's not a fight I even really love because I think Morales Prates would be a pretty good fight to book.
Yeah, I've been dreaming of that fight for a while.
Otherwise, honestly, You do Prates Jeff Neal.
Yeah.
That's a fight. It's guaranteed action fight. Neal's coming off a win. Prates is coming off a loss, but Prates is still going to feel like the A side in that. Or if you really want to like try to drive home the cruelty,
Let him fight Colby.
yeah.
Sure. I don't know if Colby would take that fight.
No, he wouldn't. There's no way he would. But I'd love to see it. I'm sure Colby is angling to fight Stephen Thompson, or probably is mad that he couldn't get that Kamaru Usman fight or something, or wants to get another fight with
He wants to pick on the 55er Patty Pimblett.
yeah. Oh, there you go. But yeah, I'd say do Prates Neal or Prates Coven. You could even do Prates Thompson, but meh. I don't know. Thompson's in that place where I'm less and less interested in seeing him continue fighting at this point.
Honestly, there's a couple guys in that division that are reaching that point, right? Like Leon Edwards, what's going on with him?
Yeah.
Gilbert Burns is kind of approaching that. You know what I mean? You got Kamaru Usman kind of approaching that point.
It's just wild for Edwards because he's only 33. It just doesn't seem like he wants to be a top fighter, you know?
I have zero idea what his problem is or issue is. Like, physically has all the tools, technically has all the tools. It just seems like a mental thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And for Garry, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure he wants to play backup, and if he can't, I mean, I guess the thing to book then is going to be like Brady Rachmanov. If Brady or Rachmanov aren't going to just automatically get the next title shot.
Brady definitely shouldn't over Rachmanov.
Yeah, Brady's ranked above him in the UFC system.
We all know the truth.
I know.
We know the rightful king.
Book Brady versus Garry would be a pretty logical fight, you know.
Probably be a weird fight.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be great, but seems like if you've got a title fight already booked, and then you've got two contenders waiting, one of those two contenders needs to fight somebody else. And we already saw Shavkat Garry.
So. Yeah, Shavkat's earned his spot as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brady, what he did was ultra impressive also.
If Buckley beats Kamaru Usman, which he might, then you could do Buckley Garry.
Yeah. And they got a little bit of beef.
Fight. Yeah, and it's a fight that's well set up for Garry to win. So I'm sure he'd be happy to take it.
Maybe. It might look a little similar to this one, the Prates fight.
Yeah, but Buckley's a lot less huge in comparison to like Prates or Shavkat.
Yeah, but he's also less what's the word? Stationary. Like he will leap in to the fire. You know what I mean?
Just saying, Buckley. I think they could make that fight if Buckley wins. So that might be the right thing to do. All right. On that note, now we get to our real sad moment of the night, and I mean, look, I wasn't about to cry over Anthony Smith losing. I don't care, Anthony Smith, whatever. But this was truly just an absolute glue factory fight of bringing him in against a guy who is only a hyper-aggressive finisher for his big retirement moment where he brings his wife and his kids and all this stuff, and you've got this whole video package, and like 2 minutes into round one, Anthony Smith is on his knees, bleeding out of every orifice, clinging to life to this man. And you're just like, God, this is just terrible. And then at the end of it all, after they finally wave it off at a total mercy, just
Oh,
like,
because after the
thank
fan.
God you finally stopped this. This man, he seems like he wants to die again the way he wanted to against Dominic Reyes. After all that, then he gets up and he's like goes after this fan in the crowd. It's like trying to find a fight you can win. What's
Evil Zane.
I mean, like, it's just as Adam here is saying, it's just bad vibes. It's just a negative vibe. And then to have that post-fight speech where he's all like, yeah, he's a dude that a few years ago I could have beat, but now I can't. And now the time, it's just like, man, just
Whatever. Like
I know.
I feel like he's someone who has paid his dues, and I mean, I think it's fitting that he goes out like a warrior, like sacrifice to the up and comer. The referee gave him all the chances to improve his position, like he's a warrior. Let him go out on his shield, and he did.
I don't mind. Yeah, well, he went out cowering under his shield.
Whatever. Come on, Zane. Don't be that guy. You go fight Min Yong.
I'm surprised the UFC highlight of him was not 20 minutes of Anthony Smith holding on to somebody desperately on
Come on. Have a heart, Zane. The man is like the quintessential journeyman who made it to a championship.
No,
a
I
UFC
know.
championship matchup, could have won it, but was too honorable to take the DQ win.
I know.
You have to respect that.
Yeah, I look, I want to be kind to Anthony Smith. I do. It just feels like that was just such a no fun way to wrap that all up.
It was a warrior's death. I'm fine. I'm fine with him getting slaughtered on his way out. Like, I'm perfectly cool. Like that stepping elbow from Min Yong.
Oh,
holy shit.
It was a great performance.
He needs to change his nickname. What is it? Something silly.
The Mountain Tiger or something?
Yeah, that's got to go. The way he was slicing with those elbows, he's got to change his nickname to Filet. Filet Mignon. Come on now. That's gold.
I do agree with Donnie here that Dalby died a warrior's death out there. That's a real going out on your shield warrior's death. Not clinging to the single leg you couldn't get.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know. But I will say that Zhang Filet Mignon is absolutely that's top quality nickname bullshit.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It just came to me. It's probably the best nickname I've ever come up with for a fighter.
Yeah, that is beautiful. All right, we've also got somebody asking, would either of us have taken?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. The second that shit hit, I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. Yeah. I'm incapacitated. Give me my belt and my money, my pay-per-view point.
I mean, this is the quintessential why we're not fighters kind of move, is because
I would absolutely retire after that also.
Yeah, exactly. Undisputed champion, retiring in my King era. But yeah, this was just, I don't know.
But like, it's just the nature of the sport.
It is. It's certainly the nature of the way the UFC likes the sport to go. Like when they booked Nate Diaz against
Khamzat
Chimaev.
Yeah.
And he
MMA god stepped in though. And was like,
yeah, they did. They wouldn't let that happen to Nate Diaz.
But I will say this: Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, Shri. I'm picking Poirier by guillotine.
Oh, he needs that one, doesn't he?
Got to get the gilly. Didn't he darce him in their first fight?
Oh man. No,
I can't recall. It's been so long.
It has been. Yeah, I'm looking. we've got Max Holloway triangle armbar
Okay.
in their first fight.
He's got a Darce.
He got the Brabo. He's got a couple Brabo chokes. And I don't see a Darce in there.
A Brabo is a Darce, Zane.
Okay, well.
Same.
All right.
And it's not like Anaconda saying.
Okay. Yeah, but he's never got that guillotine. All right, we appear to have. Oh, there we go. He's back.
No, I'm here. Yeah, no, the Darce is the Brabo. Same.
The internet caught you being all pedantic on me.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's my job. I'm supposed to be the pedant here. All right. Anyway, Zhang Mingyang,
filet
mignon is let's see. I know he's calling for a ranked fight, but I mean,
no, you know who he needs to fight. There's only one possible fight for him.
What's that?
Bogdan Guskov.
Oh yeah,
Anthony Smith 2.0. Come on now.
Go back to the Anthony Smith. Well, fight all the clones.
It's perfect.
We've also got a Chad here saying Mingyang Zhang against Ivan Kudalaba, which, yeah, that works.
I like it.
Yeah. Is Kudalaba booked? He always seems like he's booked, but he's now he is booked against the Modestus Bukauskas. So,
well, that should be violent.
I like the Bogdan Gushkov. He's coming off a win. He's Anthony Smith all over again. So yeah, I think you got to do the Anthony Smith lineup.
Yeah, that's the move.
All right.
Filet mignon. Come on now.
Filet mignon is truly the high point of your 6th round career.
Yeah, I should call it right here.
Right? Yeah. It's time to quit the show, Eddie. You've done all you can do.
That's it. That's my contribution before I get sent to the glue factory.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to a catchweight bout. David Onama, Giga Chikadze, and it's Chikadze who missed weight. So we can feel a little better about him not getting the win, about him getting not robbed. I can't say it with a straight face. But man, I hate to see a round 3 like that scored.
It
for
was
David
a hard
Onama.
round to judge. The 3rd round was, right.
Yeah, if you hate MMA and you hate fun and you hate violence, it's hard to judge. For all the rest of us,
yeah, I scored it for Giga.
I scored it for Giga too.
Hey, that's my dude. And second, he did all the damage on the feet.
Yeah.
And when Onama got that headbutt takedown, he controlled for 2 minutes. That was only 2 minutes of the round, which is a large chunk, but the bulk of the round happened on the feet. So I feel like whatever was done on the feet should have priority over the control that happened on the ground.
Yeah, it's Ultimate Fighting Championships, not Ultimate Loving Championships.
Yeah.
Ultimate hugging, coddling, warming in the embrace of your lover. It's not that championship. It's just not.
It's not. And that's a tough one because Giga's been out for a while, plagued with injuries, and for him to come back and lose like this, it's tough.
It is. And I mean, I get Onama came out afterwards. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to strike with that dude. I'm just going to, go out there. And it's like, yeah, okay, dude, we get it. But still, like.
He got his bell rocked in the first round.
Yeah.
He was on skates. But I mean, who wants to stand with Giga Chikadze? Unless you're
Arnold Allen.
Or Calvin Cater.
Calvin Cater and Arnold Allen.
Yeah, but Onama's like, he's trying to.
He's trying to get there. I get it. I just, I don't. We've worked so hard to try and get rid of that kind of judging in this sport. That's all the discussions, all those classes that DC immediately forgot about the moment he took them, where he learned that damage is king. That's what it's supposed to be all about. Instead of around like that, you look at it and you say, oh yeah, we don't reward the guy who's just on top, gripping his opponent,
Yeah.
Probably, honestly, though, too, it has to be said that Giga shouldn't have bailed on when he had Onama high on his back and was shaking him
Oh, I
off.
know. Oh, I'm like, there's the kickboxer in him coming out.
Yep.
Like,
He was,
you just had to do the little twerk
yep,
and shake him
yep.
off the top.
And he saw Onama faked a reach for the leg, and Giga just, he
Or
took
do
the
like
bait
the
and
double
rolled.
hand grab
Yep.
and like pull him off,
It was right
go out the
there.
back
He
door.
was 75% of the way out and was just, he was unwilling.
That's
That
just
hurt.
years and years of kickboxing ingrained in him
Yeah.
and not grappling.
Yep. Yep. Let's see. Is there an obvious fight for Onama?
Absolutely.
Use of the law.
Nah.
Oh.
Dan Ige.
Yeah.
We'll see
Danny
about
Ige,
the
David
hype. You're not
Onama.
just going to lay on Ige. That's not going to happen.
That's especially a good one after Ige got that Woodson win.
You want to be ranked? Okay. Welcome to the rankings. He's one of the best gatekeepers, in my opinion, for the top 15.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a hard game plan to a game to plan around, but there's power and it's consistent.
Yeah.
Ige will show up in every round. He will hit hard. He can throw with power going forward and backward. You have to bring something. So, all right. Yeah. Ige, I like that. That's a good shout. And somebody else just noting that Zalal and Onama are actually training partners. So,
Wow. So that would
we
never
can't
happen.
punish them both for being horribly boring.
Well, I think Onama did some really good stuff in that fight on the feet also.
He did. He had all the right ideas.
Yeah.
He pressured Chikadze a lot, made Chikadze pay for his willingness to move around a lot and stay on his bike and then try to sit down and throw with full power every time. It's a style that makes Chikadze very dangerous, but it also tires him out.
Yeah. And
so
Onama checked a lot of kicks.
Checked a lot of kicks.
He checked a lot of kicks.
He worked really hard to keep Chikadze working and to make this fight. And he did a great job, honestly, too, getting on Chikadze in round 2 and really getting the fight away from Chikadze even before Chikadze started to flag and get tired.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the way he was reaching for that posting arm and just not letting Chikadze build a base under him and get back up, it's brilliant work.
It's
not fun.
Work. No, I was totally willing to give him round 2. I hate to see a round 3 like that where you're really like Chikadze came back. He's doing well. He's fighting really well in open space. He's clearly landing the better shots. And then he gets taken down. And
with a headbutt takedown.
With a headbutt takedown. And maybe because he was shook up, but also just because it's his instinct. He's not willing to work really hard to get back up. And Onama is not willing to do anything to give any space and potentially let him up. And so you just get like 2 minutes of stalemate and scoring a round and the whole fight based on that. I hate it.
They probably could have stood that up.
Yeah, they easily could have. There was nothing happening. It was bad.
I guess it's a good time to mention how terrible the refereeing was tonight. Poor Tan Dan past his prime, stopping rounds at the 10-second sticks.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in Kansas City. It seemed because then too, in the main event in one of the rounds, I think they rang the bell 5 seconds early too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, just I don't know, weird.
Yeah, weird night.
And there was a premature stoppage earlier in the night also.
Yeah.
So not the best night for the Kansas City Athletic Commission.
No. Oh, as for Chikadze though, let's see. I wouldn't mind seeing let's see. What would make sense?
Let him fight Michael Chandler.
Giga?
Yeah, why not?
Go up a division?
Sure. I feel like Chandler desperately needs a win. It might be exciting. Chandler's not just going to grapple. Giga missed weight.
Let's see. There's got to be something in his own division. I'm not going to book out of his division for Chandler, of all people. Let's see.
Josh Emmett.
Yeah, you could do something like Emmett, or let's see here. Find my place. I mean, you could do him against Woodson. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
Yeah, right.
That's a good one.
Duchkazi Woodson. All right.
Bro, he would murder that guy's legs.
He would.
He would murder those legs.
All right. That brings us to a middleweight fight. Abu Sufyan Magomedov versus Michel Pereira.
What in the hell was even this?
Oh, man, I think, honestly, Pereira had no idea. And this is something I've seen happen with Magomedov a lot in his career, is that people have no idea just how big he is and how long he is. And Pereira is a dude who loves to fight way outside. He likes to be a mile away from people, jumping in, finding the absolute perfect time, all that. And he got out there and he was a mile away, and Magomedov was just like touching him and hitting him. And I think it just spooked him way off of his game. That, and I think too, his coaches, he's had a couple fights now where his cornering has seemed awful. Like they told him in that Anthony Hernandez fight to just like take a round off, basically.
Yeah, it's wild.
And then in this fight, there seemed to be a real suggestion that he should have like a slow build. And I get that Magomedov has gas tank problems, which showed up immediately in this fight too. But like Pereira is a hot start, find your timing, find your rhythm kind of fighter. Like telling him to like keep it slow and not push the pace and push the action, you're just taking all the best parts of his game away from him. So I think it was getting hit at a range where he did not think he could get hit, plus a bad game plan, and it just all took him totally out of the fight. Like,
he was fighting, like, I don't know if it was the tactics of trying to fight really reserved in the first round and conserve your energy and let this guy burn out. I don't know if he was sick. But he
could have been sick too, yeah.
He was fighting, like, he had zero explosiveness in this match.
Yeah.
Like, usually you see his pop, you see his explosiveness. Not once did that ever show up. Like, ever. Like, he didn't fight like himself at all. He looked beyond unprofessional. Like, I know he does the antics and all that, but he looked unprofessional in that first round. Like, he had zero business being out there. But, like, as the fight went on, it got better and better. And like, I see what the game plan was, like attack the body, attack the body. But like,
I think it's just one of those things where like there's, you hear from a lot of fighters that they don't like to watch tape and they don't like to game plan. They just work on themselves and they let their coaches do all the tape and all the game planning because they don't want to get out there and be like, oh, this is a little different than what I expected. Now I don't know what to do. They just want to be like, oh, I've been in the gym doing my own thing, and I assume my coaches are telling me to do stuff that'll get me ready. And maybe this is one of those things where, like, he watched a bunch of tape and he thought he had Magomedov, like, down, and he got out there and was just totally different. And, like, because it looked like he didn't expect this fight at all.
It seems more than that. It seems like something's wrong with him. Like, the lack of explosiveness is just alarming. Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Well, I think he also just, when he got out there and was getting clipped up at range early, I think he also got hurt pretty bad.
But even before that, like when he would throw his kicks, they were like zero power, just kind of touching, like just showing him. And
Yeah.
I just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. The
I
best
won't
part
be
of this fight was the cell phone lights.
Yeah, I won't be surprised at all to learn that he was sick after it.
It's a really odd performance.
Yeah.
Like at least do a backflip or something.
Yeah, right. Just one kick flip, something. Come on.
Anything. Just so and like the zero antics whatsoever. That also leads me to believe he was ill or something.
Yeah. I'm always loath to like ascribe a secondary thing, so I really do think like he just was not prepared for Magomedov, but it certainly could be that there was something else going on,
It's an out of character performance strictly because of the lack of explosiveness.
Yeah. For Magomedov though, I'm still not really sold on his game at a high level at all, and he gasses out really quickly, but I guess you got to find something else to like, you know, there's a really obvious thing to do.
Who's that?
Roman Kopylov.
He's booked.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Is he? I don't see anything.
No?
No.
I thought he was booked.
I don't see a booking for him.
Why do I think he's booked?
That's a good question. Yeah, let me see. I'll type in.
I could also be tripping.
You are tripping. I don't see. Oh, let's see. Oh no,
Paulo
apparently
Costa.
somebody announced him fighting with Paul. But come on, I
Yeah, maybe.
don't think that that's official in any way, shape, or form. And B,
Tapology says it's confirmed. I don't know
okay,
who says
so
what
it could
about
be.
it.
But B, do we actually believe that Paulo Costa can be depended on to show up for?
Well, it's about time for his annual appearance or however often appearance.
All right. Well, if it's not that, then
But sure, I mean, Kopylov would be great.
yeah, that's too bad because I would like to see him fight Roman Kopylov. Otherwise, what do we got? No, I guess you could do Brad Tavares. He did beat Gerald Mearshart.
Yeah, that's fair. Tavares,
Yeah,
a veteran. Put him in there with Delidze.
Delidze. Yeah, I mean,
He's coming off the Vittoria rematch win.
yeah, that's true. God, I don't really.
Or the winner of DeRitter Bo Nickel.
That's actually a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah. All right. On that note, we've got a welterweight bout: Randy Brown, Nicholas Dalby. Hate to see it. I mean,
I love to see it.
Look, I love the KO was so great that I don't even feel bad. But a little part of me, the part of me that's a big Nicholas Dalby fan, it's like, man, I hate to see him get face planted like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time it's ever happened. Like the dude is tough as shit.
He is.
I don't care at all. Like the fight was fire.
It was great. Great fight.
Like the whole thing was just excellent. You know, you got Brown smearing the nose of Dalby across his face. Dalby just dealing with it.
The corner just popping it back in place between rounds. The cut man.
That's gangster. That is gangster. And then Dalby coming right back and dropping Brown.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? And then that just the brawl that erupted. I didn't expect Randy Brown to bite down and exchange in the pocket.
No.
And he fucking did it and slumped Dalby. Nobody does that to Dalby.
It is.
That's a statement making win for Randy Brown.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, we got Somebody here mentioning it's a hell of a way to bounce back from that battle loss. And if he could have done that, if he could have found that with Brian Battle, he might not have lost that fight. Like,
I still don't think he lost that fight, but
yeah,
history will show.
nonetheless, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, him finding that fire, that's something he needs to do.
Yeah.
You know,
and he's sketchy when he's in that pocket throwing. Randy Brown is so tall, like lanky, like he is there to be creamed.
It takes 2 minutes for that arm to like unfold at the elbow, and you know,
Dalby didn't even see it coming though.
No,
that was so wicked.
Beautiful knockout. I'm happy to see Brown calling for a ranked fight and calling to climb the ranking. You got to have a better name than that, though. When you're like absolutely dead set on like, I need to be a ranked fighter and I need to get a ranked fight, got to have something more than just like whoever or Prates is fighting later. And it's like, yeah, he's fighting later. You got to have like, you know, tell us you want to fight. Tell us you want to fight even Michael Page, you know?
Sure. Vicente Luque, something like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, make the Prates fight. He spoke his name.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, great win for Brown, and really, you know, hope he can keep finding that fire. He's always had the physical tools and the technical tools to be a really dangerous opponent for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all like he's so often in the past been a fighter who seems like he wants to make something really spectacular rather than just finding a way to win. Sure. Where like he'll be doing stuff to win, and he'll just be like, oh yeah, you could just fight long behind your jab and some kicks. Be like, yeah, but I want to try to hit like a wheel kick knockout instead, and then he just starts losing. It's just like,
sure. And
follow the
along those lines, like, when in doubt, look cool, right? And he's someone who just tries to look cool out there.
Yeah.
So he'll drop his hands and like, try to style on his opponent, and it gets him clipped.
Yep.
Like tonight.
Yeah.
It worked out for him, but that's just,
it's who he is.
Yeah, it's ingrained.
Down at the core.
That jab was fucking nasty, though. That jab was nasty.
No, when he wants to, the tools are there for him to challenge anybody. You know?
I wish he was a little more committed to the jab, like nonstop.
Yeah,
like, make them find a way around it.
Too, though, what they could do if he doesn't get that, if he doesn't get a top 15 guy, could book him against Chidi and Njokuani.
Oh my goodness. A little Jamaican on Jamaican action there. Or is he Haitian?
He's Nigerian.
Chidi is?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Njokuanis were like the original Nigerian, Anthony Njokuani.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking violent. That's a violent matchup. Chidi's coming off a good win, too.
He is. So
that's fantastic.
If they don't get him that top 15, I would absolutely want to watch that.
This performance, you should definitely get a ranked opponent. As long as you've been doing this, and you just starch someone that's never been starched. Not only did you starch him, but you've rearranged his face. Like the man will never breathe the same again.
Yeah. So if they want to do Prates Brown, I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's sexy. That's a sexy fight.
All right. That note, middleweight bout, Ikram Aliskerov, Andre Muniz. Man, if there's ever a fight that just does not tell me anything more about a fighter at all, this is it. Like, we know that Ikram Aliskerov can bulldoze people in the first round. And we know that Andre Muniz, when he does lose, tends to lose spectacularly and has terrible striking. So, like, okay, Muniz spent all of his time having to strike with Ikram Aliskerov and got slumped. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Is Ikram Alaskarov any better than the guy who got absolutely trounced by Robert Whittaker?
He's probably the same guy still.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, at least he had a bounce back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This could have been a shitty fight.
Oh yeah, no. It definitely. If Muniz was gonna, if Muniz, if Alaskarov could really shut down Muniz's grappling with wrestling, that could have been a real tragedy. So I'm glad this ended up being a fairly brief striking bout.
Yeah.
Where,
I mean, I'm happy for Alaskarov. Like
yeah,
he took a massive step up when he fought Whitaker
he
and
did.
had no business in there with him
Yeah,
and paid for it. So, this is a good confidence builder for him. Get back in the saddle, so to speak. Now we can go fight like Joe Pyfer or something like that,
yeah. They got there are plenty of heavyweight or middleweights out there that he would be. You know what? Put him in there with Michael Oksajic. I'd watch that.
That could be violent as fuck.
Yeah.
That would be hyper violent.
Or yeah, I mean honestly, just anyone up to the edges of the top 15 right now could have him fight. I mean, you could have once again, I don't want to do same card kind of stuff, but like
You're going to have to get over that, Zane.
I don't like it. Never getting over it.
There's no real reason to not like it.
But you could have him fight Abus Magomedov. That would be,
Sure.
it would be a sensible pair.
For the longest time, I thought they were the same person.
There you go. See, they have to fight now. Also, we're seeing that somebody mentioned that Dana confirmed that Garry is the backup. So apparently the arm is not broken. So
Okay.
there you go.
Well, good for him.
Really looked like Garry was hiding it and like shielding it. So I'm pretty surprised. But
man, you think if Bilal pulls out, he'll get stripped or they'll do an interim?
they'll strip him. They'd strip him in a heartbeat. They practically made Jamal Hill give them his shoes. Like the UFC doesn't like you as a champion. They are not holding out and waiting for you for nothing.
Yeah, true. Poor guy.
Yeah, they'll book that fight on Ramadan just to make it like,
Sure.
Yeah. No.
Wouldn't that be
right.
nuts though if fucking Ian Garry gets a title shot before Shavkat does?
Yeah.
I would be so sad.
It shouldn't happen, but I could see it. It definitely shouldn't happen. All right, that brings us to a flyweight bout. Matt Schnell, Jimmy Flick.
The battle of the two retired guys.
The battle of the retired guys. And this was a fun fight. It was entertaining.
Fun.
It became fun. It was entertaining. But my God, did Matt Schnell want to lose this fight? Like, I have never seen a guy work so hard to not win. Every time he did anything just a little bit like, oh, maybe I should stand and try to throw punches instead of jumping on the guillotine every single chance I get or holding onto a front headlock until I get swept. Anytime he did anything other than that, he beat Flick so bad that you had to just be like, okay, Flick doesn't belong in there at all. But he did so much of the other stuff that it is almost a miracle that Matt Schnell managed to win this fight.
It's also, a tale as old as time in terms of controlling without damage.
Yeah.
Right? Like Flick had so much control in that first round and did zero damage with it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was never a reason that Matt Schnell needed to lose this fight. He didn't have to accept any of the bad positions he did. He didn't have to grapple with Flick all the time. This was all Schnell doing everything at his own behest.
I also think that like the way I think he was so hell bent on those guillotines because the way Flick defends him, he instantly rolls to his back. Like the second he feels like it's
Yeah.
tight, which is a proper defense, but there's other ways to go about it. So it's like, well, if I go for this, he'll gift me top position. I'm gonna do that. And like, I don't think he's like thinking I need to get back to open space and whatever. He's just
Yeah,
in the
no, he
fight.
clearly was not. He clearly
Yeah.
was not thinking about that.
He had some really good positions too.
He
Even
did.
like in the first round where he
Oh,
had
yeah.
like the half of the triangle in. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a way to actually finish that without your other leg involved. If like you reach your arm to the other side and grab your own
Mm-hmm.
leg and like grip it like this and clamp down, you can actually get submissions like that. There was this guy, I forget his name. His last name was Rex, but he called it the Rex angle, and he would hit it in MMA fights. It was the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, no, I Matt Schnell is always entertaining, but like coming out of retirement for this sort of like big MMA brain thinking performance, it's just like, come on, man. Like any other flyweight in this division is going to beat you for
I think he
this.
might want to retire at home. Isn't he from Louisiana?
He is, that's true.
I think
So
he's
yeah,
trying to get on that card.
well, that's a really circuitous way to go about re-retiring because there's no guarantee at all that the UFC is going to put you on one of the only cards they've put on in Louisiana in the last 20 years. They used to go to Louisiana all the damn time
Yeah.
back in the dark days, but not anymore.
But I'm happy that Schnell fought the way he did. It made it fun for me.
It did. It made it a fun fight. It did.
This fight could have really sucked.
It could have. I do like the suggestion. Now's the time for Matt Schnell, Tim Elliott.
He was
That
in the
would be-
building tonight. Tim Elliott. He was Octagon side. And yeah, that'd be a ton of fun. Think about all the Gilly attempts we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, make that in Louisiana. Everybody's jumping Gillies. Poirier's
There you
going to
go.
win by Gilly. You got Schnell and Elliott just going back and forth. Ninja chokes.
Absolutely.
And this
All
was one of the fights where at the end of the second round, Schnell had a guillotine at the very end, and Tandan stepped in
Yeah.
and like prematurely he touched.
He made it
touched
look
him.
like he touched it.
And it's like, damn, what are you doing? Like this is
Classic Tandan.
they should have
I mean-
deducted a point from him from Tandan.
Yeah.
This is when you yellow card the referee.
Yeah. No, I mean Mergliotta is one of those refs that like you go back to the glory days of Dan Mergliotta when he was at his most on point, and that's him letting a fight go like 3 minutes longer than it should.
Just because he didn't want to bend down and touch the fighters to stop.
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So
Old school.
he's always been I would not want to trust that man with my career kind of ref.
Cool dude though.
Yeah. Well,
Cool
you know.
guy.
I've never talked to a ref ever and had the feeling like, oh, you're a really hard person to get along with. I think it's part of the breed. If you're going to be a ref, you have to
True.
be relaxed
Yeah.
as a personality. You can't
But
be
he's
a
like-
high-strung ref.
Like I haven't met many refs. I think, I've had conversations with Jason Herzog and he's like a normal guy.
Mhm.
But Tandan is just jolly. Like
Yeah.
he was jolly. Like it's really cool. But maybe not the best person you want out there entrusting
Yeah.
with your safety
He's-
to.
He's chortling to himself while you're getting beat to a pulp.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to a lightweight bout. Evan Elder, Gage Young, and
Short notice fight.
yeah, didn't need to happen. Didn't need to happen at all. Just like
No, it was just getting local guy versus local guy kind of thing.
yeah,
Former training partners, and it felt like that.
yeah.
You had Young just had too much respect for his elder. What? I had filet mignon. You got to give me this one.
Yeah, no, okay. Filet mignon does give you that grace. Give you that little bit meat. Give you the not going to cut you off right now. But yes, the young should have respect for their elders, right?
Yes, but not in this case. He had too
No,
much,
he
way too
had
much
too much.
respect.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just, I mean, I don't know really honestly why the UFC has either of these guys. Like they're just
Cheap, probably cheap.
yeah, Young failed to get through Contender Series and they brought him up and now he's failing to win in the UFC itself. That's, and then Elder is kind of like, I get that he was brought in as filler, like probably a late replacement filler himself at some point, but it's just kind of like
He's
not that
clunky.
they're not that athletic. They're not, they don't have a very deep technical game. They don't, and this felt like such a like 2009 ass fight. They're standing like 8 feet apart from each other and just taking turns. I go, you go, I go, you go, one fight, one shot at a time.
It seems like Elder throws everything into his combos to the point where it completely depletes his energy bar, and then he has to sit back and recharge, throw everything, recharge.
Yeah,
It's clunky.
it's just a no fun fight, and not neat, especially on a card this big already. Like you're supposed to book these cards this big so that fights like this can fall apart, and we don't rebook them.
This is the perfect. This fight would be the reason why they should bring back post limbs
Yeah,
or dark limbs.
yeah,
Like it can happen. We don't need to see it.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
it can be on Fight Pass or something, or on their YouTube channel or something like that.
Yeah, get one of Dana's old flip phones and we can stream it on that.
There you go. Yeah,
All
we
right,
had 14 fights tonight.
right? We didn't need this one.
No.
That brings us to a featherweight bout: Chris Gutierrez, John Castaneda, and I mean it's not a big deal, but that judge that gave John Castaneda 2 rounds, that's
Yeah, I didn't see it that way.
I didn't see any argument for that really. Castaneda, not only did he get dropped, I think in the first round,
He got dropped in the first round.
he also got dropped by leg kicks in the second round.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? You
Yeah.
just forget? Like,
Probably because it really did happen in like the first 20, 30
yeah,
seconds of the second round.
it did.
So maybe they did forget.
He might have.
But even then, it's not like Castaneda came back and dominated the round or
No.
anything.
No.
But I know the betting lines were really close, so maybe that, I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe
Yeah.
that had something to do with it. But Castaneda has nobody to blame but himself for this.
No.
He gave Gutierrez the exact fight that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
The exact fight. Castaneda should have been chasing takedowns.
He got scared off early by Gutierrez's power when he got hit with a couple shots. And once that happens, if you get scared and you give any respect to Gutierrez and you fight a range fight with him,
yeah,
he will just slam the door on you. So,
no.
yeah.
And you have Castaneda's corner screaming out the most absurd things like, he's scared. He's scared. Yeah, he's scared. All right. Scared of just getting this easy win.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too bad. I like Castaneda as a fighter, but this was a very predictable performance against in a very in a style matchup that I didn't think was all that well suited for him. And
no, I was shocked at how close the betting odds were.
Yeah, me too.
One thing I do like about it though is that it's two bantamweights fighting where they should be fighting, which is at 145. Like that's the real saving grace for me here.
Yeah, the short notice rebooking.
Yeah, like both of these guys have been trying to get on a card forever now, and like their fights keep falling through because of illness or whatever the case. So I enjoy seeing guys fight where they should be fighting, like more closer to their natural weight.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't really care who Gutierrez fights next, but you fight with like him and Charles Jourdain or something, or
sure.
Yeah.
You know what you get from Gutierrez.
Yeah. He's a neutralizer. He goes out there and he makes fights not happen.
He did get a knockdown though. I was happy to see that. I was
He did.
impressed.
He's got enough power that people have to actually respect him, which I think surprises a lot of fighters because they go out there and they're like, "Oh, this guy just neutralizes people. He just doesn't do any. He gets on his bike. I don't need to respect him." And they go after him, and then he hits you really hard. And it's like, "Oh, well, I better be a little bit worried." And then his game just locks down at that point.
And this is another example of control and no damage, right? Castaneda gets on top there, and at the end of the third, 0 damage.
Yeah.
It's like you got to go for broke. Like you got to drop bows. 12-6s are legal now. Like smash this guy. Don't try to work a fucking arm-in guillotine. Like you need to be doing damage.
You know what? Actually, I'll say it's a little cruel, but book Gutierrez against Raul Rosas Jr.
Oh man. Yeah, Gutierrez, I think, will just get mauled on the ground.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, Raul Rosas Jr. will learn a very valuable lesson about distance management.
Yeah, true. It's a funky fight.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. On that note, Damon Blackshear, Alateng Hai Lee, and this is a fight like of all the ways I could see this fight going.
Yeah.
And I think of all the ways Alateng Hai Lee could see this fight going, I don't think he ever in his wildest dreams thought that Damon Blackshear would go out there and triple up on him with output. Just say,
I didn't expect it.
No.
And I'm happy to see it.
No, like, it's great.
Round 1, Damon comes out and just starts letting his strikes go. Like that was especially after his last performance. Like he fought Cody Gibson not too long ago.
Yeah,
but like
Gibson boxed him up early in that fight.
Piecing him up. He was in all sorts of trouble. And for him to come out and just work his striking, I don't even know if he went for a takedown.
I don't think he did.
Like it was great to see.
Yeah, it was wild to see from Blackshear because too, this is a fighter who, you know, I think he's
I also liked his defense.
He's like 30 at this point in his career, and he has been around, you know, he's been fighting even like outside the UFC for his career. He's been fighting at a really pretty high level for a long time. You know, he fought like Danny Sabatello back in Titan FC, Pat Sabatini, Chris Moutinho, a lot of guys who made it to a high level. And so for somebody like him who's been around for a minute and is now like, you know, kind of later on in his career, in the middle of his career, to see him improving so much as a striker is really kind of wild. Like, yeah, as you said, his defense, he was getting his hands up. He was blocking shots.
Yeah. Shoulder rolling.
He was not overextending himself anymore because one of the big things with Blackshear has always been that he rushes his strikes so much to get into the pocket and hook up with people that he runs himself into shots and he gets out over his feet and he eats shots really poorly because of that. And so for him to just suddenly be out here and just be like, I'm going to be really controlled. I'm going to stay over my feet. I'm going to be mindful of strikes coming in. I'm going to put out a ton of output.
Yeah, while throwing volume.
Yeah.
The whole time.
It's wild.
Yeah, definitely. Probably the most unexpected performance of anybody on this card.
Really. And I think Alateng Hai Lee just was flummoxed by it. It must have been absolutely maddening.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
He was working on twister defense.
Yeah.
You know? He couldn't hit him. Well, he tagged him several times, but he struggled he whiffed a lot. He missed a lot of punches out there.
Yeah. He struggled to find range, and he just struggled to handle all the volume. Alateng Hai Lee's a fighter. He's a crafty counter puncher, and he will lead if you give him space, but he's not a huge push the volume, push the pace guy. It's why he lost to Casey Kenny. It's why he lost to Chris Gutierrez. It's why, you know, he's struggled in the past before. but I expected him still to be a lot higher output than Blackshear on the feet.
Right.
You know, I expected that would still be an advantage he'd have, and they would come down to scrambling would be the reason that, because Blackshear is one of the bantamweight's best scramblers, no question. And Blackshear
a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, love to see it. Really love to see it.
You know who he should fight?
Ooh.
Hani Barcelos.
Shit, yeah. I'd watch it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see. Hani's coming off that Peyton Talbot win.
Yeah. Hani Barcelos would be great. You could do like, Ricky Simone. Well, I think Basharat beat Blackshear at some point, but still, you could do Ricky Simone too, but yeah, I like that Barcelos fight. That's a great idea.
Yeah, a veteran versus someone who's like a veteran but still kind of new to the UFC.
Especially too because like the core for Barcelos beating Talbot when Talbot was putting out all that volume was his wrestling game. And I've seen really dominant, really high level wrestlers and grapplers beat Blackshear before, but it is incredibly difficult. He scrambles like crazy and he will make it hell the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So if Barcelos wants to fall back to that game, I don't know I don't know that he can do that to beat Blackshear. So I'd be fascinated to see it.
Be a good matchup.
All right. That brings us to a bantamweight bout, another bantamweight bout, Malcolm Wellmaker, Cameron Simon.
Wow.
And I had doubts coming into this. I like Wellmaker as a really great athlete.
Sure. Untested, though.
Very untested and with a lot of bad habits. It's the kind of fighter who acts like he's out of range and he can't be hit while he's still totally in range. And he's just not used to having to deal with fighters that are fast enough or aggressive enough or well-trained enough that could hurt him. And his Contender Series fight, he's basically doing nothing. And then he just kind of lands one hook and you're like, okay, you're physically a talent, but what else is there? And Simon is a fighter who I think, he's gotten a lot of hype because of Dricus. And I think he's got a lot of people overrating his athletic ceiling because of Dricus and because he started out with some wins. But I've always been like, really not a good athlete, but he works really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Will throw himself at people endlessly. And I'm like, I don't know if Wellmaker is ready for that. If he could deal with somebody who's just going to be there constantly.
Did you pick Simon here?
I did.
I did too.
I didn't think he'd be ready for it. I thought he would get overwhelmed. I thought he would just get broken down by the pressure, by the consistency of it, you know. But
Wellmaker showed the fuck up.
You got to start thinking that Wellmaker at the very least has the potential to be a top 10 fighter.
Sure.
That physicality is right there.
Sure. Yeah.
The potential to work with. You're working with a baseline, very special athlete.
And someone who has impeccable timing.
Yeah.
The reason he got this knockout is because he threw with Simon.
Yeah.
Right. So Simon, he was throwing a long hook, like way too leapy, and actually landed, right?
Yeah.
But Wellmaker also threw something way more powerful. And honestly, I don't think Simon has the chin for MMA.
No, I mean, Simon is he's the example of why people think Dricus's game is so trash, even though he's champ. Is because if you take Dricus du Plessis' skill set and you put it on somebody who's not the athlete Dricus du Plessis is, this is what you get.
Yeah. And
it's a very wild, very risk-taking, very unstructured, and
it's wild. It's wild.
And it puts him at a lot of risk. And he doesn't have the physicality. He doesn't have the durability to be a real top-end fighter. So, but still, even saying that, Simon went through 2 rounds of hell from Peyton Talbot. He went through a 3-round war with Christian Rodriguez. He has been tough in the past and able to fight his way through stuff. Wellmaker, I think the physicality there is pretty special. Like that has to be realized. Like,
yeah, 100%. The man is dynamic.
The reason his game looks so undercooked is because he is physical enough to get away with a lot.
Yeah. And who knows, that might end up biting him in the ass down the line.
Sure.
As he rises. But I think we're going to get a lot of fun knockouts in the meantime.
And who knows too, like when you're that kind of athlete, your timeline for learning new skills and building is way longer, because you can be 35 and you're starting to lose a step, and now you're the athlete that a really pretty good athlete would be at that point.
He's 30. He's got like
Wellmaker.
4 years. Yeah, Wellmaker. He's got like 4 years to pick up everything he's going to pick up.
And it could with that kind of athlete. It could, but yeah, it's definitely. I do. Let's see. We got somebody suggesting Wellmaker Victor Henry.
I would much rather see him fight Sopai.
Yeah.
That would be violent. We might get another detonation.
See that. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of quality. Yeah, Sopai would be a lot of fun. Sopai or Lee Chang Ho or
I want to see people trying to bang with him.
Yeah. You also do David Martinez from that win over Simon Oliveira in Mexico City. Yeah, he's gonna be fun. I'm interested to see what he can do. All right.
I hope he got a performance bonus for this also.
Fight of the night went to Randy Brown, Nicholas Dalby. Performance of the night, Zhang Mingyang and Malcolm Wellmaker.
Man, Randy should have got 2 bonuses for that. He really should have. But yeah, good that Wellmaker got a fat check in his debut. That's pretty badass.
And hey, at least Zhang Mingyang got paid a little extra too for having to play part in that horrible humiliation ritual that Anthony Smith wanted to go through.
Filet mignon came out of it. So
yeah, it's true.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. All right. Before that, Jacqueline Amorim, Polyana Viana. This was a very obvious setup walkover fight for Jacqueline Amorim.
Yeah, flawless victory.
Well, it had to be too. Like Polyana Viana, she loses. She wakes up and she loses to grappling. Like she gets tangled in a bed sheet and gets choked out.
Oh shit! The shower curtain gets her.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Like she is just incredibly prone to being out grappled, and Amorim is a legit grappler.
Yeah, it's like we got the no arm in triangle going on from Viana. It's like, oh no. And it's crazy because at the same time, Amorim is trying to set up an actual triangle. And that would have been just awesome. But we did get a little 69 position out of it for those of us who want to see that.
Yeah, moving right along.
Come on, who doesn't like the 69 in MMA? It's funny and goofy.
Okay, fair enough. Do you see the video going around of the was it like
with the cup humping with the cup?
Yeah, the Mongolian MMA smashing the guy in the face with the
Mongolian nut smash?
Yeah.
That's illegal, I think.
It is definitely illegal. If you can't hit somebody in the groin, you can't hit somebody with your groin.
No, you can hit someone with your groin if you don't have a cup on. It's the cup that makes it the foul.
That is not what makes it the foul.
Yeah. There's no rule that says you can't use your dick to hit someone.
Yes, there is. It's
No, what rule?
you can't strike somebody in the groin, and if you can't strike somebody in the groin, you can't strike somebody with your groin. That's like
Yes,
the
you
same
can.
thing. It is the same thing.
No, you can hump
Yeah.
somebody.
It's not striking them. That's
I mean, what's a strike now? You know?
dropping your balls on someone's face.
You can. So it's only illegal because of the cup. So if the fighter isn't wearing a cup, like a female fighter can absolutely do that. Zane, you're out of your mind.
I will absolutely not.
What would they
Absolutely.
what would they call the foul?
They'd call it a groin strike.
No, a groin strike is when you strike the groin.
You are technically striking the groin if somebody's hitting you with the groin.
I have to challenge you on this one. I don't think it's illegal for
All right.
if you don't have a cup on.
I think any ref worth their salt should be stepping in immediately and saying no. You can't do that. It's the spirit of the rule. The spirit of the rule is not the technical wording of the rule. The spirit of the rule is 100%. You're not going to. You're not
the
supposed to be
spirit of the
using
rule
your
is
groin.
you can't hit other people in the groin. If you what you do with your own groin, that's like you can grab your own shorts.
It's not like grabbing.
It is. You're allowed to grab your own shorts. You can't. The spirit of the rule is you can't grab your opponent's shorts. You can grab your own shorts. You can reach inside your own glove. Can't reach inside your opponent's glove.
I know, but this is not striking somebody with your groin.
I need some clarification on this.
Yeah, we need clarification. We're gonna have to
because it's not a kick, so you're not kicking a downed opponent.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, technically, if it's striking somebody with part of your body below the waist, if you hit somebody with your thigh, that counts as a kick.
But that's below the belt. I don't know.
Yeah, so is your junk.
But like,
Eddie, is your junk now in an evolved place? Are you?
Mine's above the belt. I don't know.
It's above the belt.
It's in the waistband.
Yeah.
I'm hiding it.
That's right. Technically, when you do it, it's above the belt.
We are so off topic.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, that's fantastic. I do need a real answer on that, though.
Yeah. All right. On that note, where the hell are we? We are at Timmy Kwamba, Roberto Romero. We are moving on.
Well, hold on. Amarim needs to fight, must fight, has to fight Angela Hill next.
Yeah.
Must.
Okay.
No exceptions.
All right. That's fine by me. I don't care enough to try to book something else for her. And Angela Hill is forever the gatekeeper to the top 15. So
it's proper.
That makes sense. All right. That brings us to a featherweight bout. Timmy Kwamba, Roberto Romero. And you know what? Credit to Timmy Kwamba, because I have criticized a lot. I criticized him a lot going into this for just not doing enough. Doesn't let his hands go enough. He doesn't throw enough. He doesn't put enough out there. He's a great athlete, clearly. Just does not fight. He's very perfect is the enemy of the good kind of fighter. And Roberto Romero just walked in on him on a straight line over and over again. And credit to Timmy Kwamba, he knew what to do with that. He just let his hands go. You know?
He has some crisp boxing, but I think I don't know if it's a confidence issue or being risk adverse or a mixture of the two, but I feel like he can just steamroll guys if he would just let it go and just pull the trigger. Like if he had like just a dash of what John Silva has, he would murder everybody.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason,
But this was a great sign in that department. Like,
sure,
he got a good opponent to show that against. Romero is reckless to a fault. Doesn't have a lot of craft. Doesn't have a lot of technique. Just only knows how to storm after people. So this is a great opportunity to show that. But Kwamba let it go. You know, and that's what he's got to take the positive away from that. Now that said, 100% an early stoppage. No question.
Definitely an early stoppage. But he was setting up that flying knee all fight.
Oh, yeah. And Romero got hit with like 4 huge clean shots right before it. So,
Oh, dude, it was like a nasty cross to a head kick. He was on skates already.
Yeah, I get why the ref stepped in, but Romero was on his way back to his feet. He got sat down. This was clearly not a good stoppage.
No, bad stoppage. Inexperienced referee at the high level.
Yeah.
We'll call it that. But, fighter safety, I guess it's better early than late.
Better early than late, but is what it is.
But yeah, definitely an early stoppage. Classic early stoppage. And honestly, I mean, credit to Romero for not protesting or being an asshole about it.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Like, he just let it go. But yeah, bad stoppage by the ref. But I don't think that should take away from what Kwamba did out there, though.
No, he was lighting him up. It was the best performance of Kwamba's career, no question.
Yeah, I'll still give him the highlight.
And that brings us finally to Jocelyn Edwards, Chelsea Chandler, and thankfully, this was exactly the result we needed, which was...
You know how cathartic this was for me.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about Chelsea Chandler. And, I'm not sure she belongs in the UFC, and she damn sure doesn't belong in the rankings.
Yeah.
So for Edwards to come out and treat her accordingly... Wow.
Because Edwards is the kind of fighter who can lose to anyone on the wrong night. She makes all kinds of errors, will give up easy takedowns, will fight off of her back rather than getting to her feet, all that kind of stuff. So the potential was there for this to be really ugly. But Edwards seemed to know precisely what this fight was all about. And she just went out there and stormed her. It's great. It's what she should be doing.
Yeah. Chandler
does not have... She is some real proof positive that Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is one of the forgotten worst camps in MMA.
Is that where the Diaz brothers came from?
Mm-hmm. And they really built up the technical quality of that camp, hiding a lot of really undertrained fighters, of which Chelsea Chandler is.
They probably have a really solid kid self-defense program.
I would bet they do. Yeah.
But yeah, outside of the Diaz brothers, I guess there's Chris Avila.
He was really underprepared for the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the other guys who were associated with that gym were mostly actually the scrap pack.
Sure, like Jake Shields and
Gilbert Melendez.
I guess we'll call them imports.
Yeah.
They didn't come from that.
No.
So, Gilbert Melendez.
Yeah. Chandler being very much up here, came up with Cesar Gracie fighter. You're just like, what does she know how to do? She tried to take Edwards down, and Edwards just fell on her, basically.
I don't know if she's part of some residual Nate Diaz deal that he put in his contract or something.
He did do that a lot. That's clearly,
the only thing I can think
there
of.
was very clearly several fights where Diaz renegotiated his contract at the UFC, and at the same time that he renegotiated, 1 or 2 fighters from his camp would get signed,
which I respect. I love the nepotism. Give my boy a job, love it. But the preparedness and like I said, Chandler doesn't belong in the UFC, and hate to be that guy, but I'm glad she got her ass whooped because she needs to get the fuck up out of the rankings.
Yeah, they need to definitely overhaul that. And so great win from Edwards, who will now be in the rankings and can fight, I don't know, Melissa Mullins or Nora Cornell or something like that. Whatever.
Sure.
All
right. Did me a favor here, Zane.
On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Subscribe to our subscribe to our Substack channel, which you can find down below. We'll have some bonus content for Substack subscribers coming up later. And you can find me on Twitter at the Zane Simon. and on Substack and on Blue Sky at Zane Simon. You can find Eddie at the Eddie Mercado on all platforms. Doing some MMA stuff at sometimes over on Instagram, maybe occasionally.
I post my fight pics.
Yeah, he posts his fight pics there.
Oh, and I'll be commentating Brawlers Ball on May 17th in Portsmouth, Virginia. Frank Mir will be in the house. Come check it out. Some pro fights.
On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.